So let's talk about value. How does a family determine the value of a portrait?
I think it's the story behind the portrait. I always tell our clients, anybody can take a picture, and it's a picture with your cell phone, with your camera, whatever. But what makes it valuable, what makes it an heirloom piece is why are you having this portrait taken? It's the whole package. Why are you dressing the way you are? What makes this emotionally valuable? And it could be as simple as a celebration of a birthday, child turning 1 or 5 or 18 or whatever, but that's what makes that connection. I think for moms, I'll go by a mom's perspective, is us moms, we want to keep our kids as young as we possibly can. We see how quickly they change over the years, and we want something to stop time. And I think that's what a portrait does for a mom, is it stops time in an instant, and we have that child that age forever. And that, to me, as a mom, makes it invaluable. But it's the story.
I totally agree. It's the story, because I look back on our family portrait that we did a few years ago, and we dressed up. Our kids, we got them really nice outfits. And, I think back to when our son was trying that outfit on, you were just making sure it fit right and everything looked good. He had a sense of pride.
He did.
Even though he don't wear that kind of clothes every day.
No.
He had a sense of pride of
Look at
stuff.
Me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Allie was the same way. She looks back on her portrait now. She's like, look how beautiful my hair was. I mean, the light hit it so beautifully. It was long and wavy, and she just feels proud of that portrait. And to me, that adds even more value, that our kids are like, yeah, I love it.
And I mean, because I can look at that portrait, it just mentally and emotionally recalls so many stories of them growing up. Now, so does a snapshot on the cell phone.
Well, sure.
But at the same time, this is something our kids and we see every single day when we walk through our house. We see these wall portraits of our family and of our kids is who we are.
It is. And you see their personalities in a simple fashion. On a cell phone, you can see it, but you have to be intentional to go look for it. Of course, Facebook pops it up every now and then, but then you're like, where'd that picture go? I mean, where is it? Where do I need to find it? But with our portrait, they see it at a glance every day, and it's something that they can be proud of. And we have these portraits all over our house. We have their 1-year-old portraits in the dining room, and they're all dressed up and pretty and things like that. And what's cool about it, the stories behind each one of those portraits, like with Philip's 1-year-old portrait, he looks like he's squatting, fixing to jump off of the trunk. And that's what happened. Your dad literally had 5 minutes with the kid and he was done. But we have an amazing, beautiful portrait with his expression that we see all the time. And another cool thing is that your dad did it.
Yeah.
That's another story that we can tell him. Papa did it.
Yeah.
And he did Allie's portrait too. And these are the things that's unique. We also have their portraits, a portrait hanging up. It's a watercolor portrait of them on the beach running around when they were like toddlers.
Yeah.
And that's something that just puts a smile on our face, and it's unique. These are the stories behind it that makes it invaluable. You can't take those moments back.
That, again, that beach portrait that we have, that watercolor that we have of the kids, I look at that every day and I can recall so many stories from that beach trip.
Yes.
We
had friends come to the beach for a day, and that's something that you can remember. I look at portraits very similar to songs that you hear on the radio or that pops up. Every song that you absolutely love, you have a memory connected to it. And that's what portraits do for us, is it creates those memories. They become heirloom pieces that you just can't get in a snapshot, in my opinion.
Totally agree.
So
I know I'm not the typical guy. I'm an artist. I enjoy portraits. I enjoy story. And so I totally get everything we're saying, but let's get a little bit controversial. Most men don't get, why does my wife want to invest in a portrait of our family? This is messing up my golf game on this Saturday, or, you know what? I'm having to take an hour or 2 hours away from work for a family portrait. This is nonsense.
And we get those. I get it. They're looking at the pricing of our portraits and they're like, I can get a TV. My TV's more important. Why would you want to move my TV or balance it with something like this? Because they see it as a picture. But you have to paint a picture for these parents. I remember one father coming in, we did a family portrait. He loves his family, okay? But he's just sitting there and he's like, man, that's a lot of money. And I remember the image that they chose. Their oldest daughter was hanging onto his arm. I was like, look, this sounds salesy. Just bear with me. But I need to paint a picture for you on what's going to happen reality-wise, okay? Right now, your daughter's only 13, all right? But you fast forward it a few years, and you're going to see her walk down the aisle. She is not going to be in your house forever and ever. Think about those moments. And what if you had this portrait hanging on your wall that you can look back on and just know and feel that she's still with you, even though she's not physically in the house with you, that she's starting her own family? How invaluable would that portrait become when it's that day and it hits you like a ton of bricks that, oh, my baby girl is not going to be here every day where I can talk to her? And he looked at me and was like, you're good. But it hit him like a ton of bricks right then. And he was like, it's true, you know? So you kind of have to paint a picture for daddies because they're in the midst of working and making sure that they're providing for their families and stuff. And it doesn't work all the time because everybody, whether they're a man or a woman, puts value in whatever, you know, and it may not always be a portrait hanging on the wall. But to us, these are the times you can't get back. And to us, it's very important. And to us, we feel like every family needs that young family portrait or a portrait of their kiddos when they're young because they grow so fast and they change so fast. And then they need a family portrait before those kids kind of exit the house.
Yeah.
Because those your storyline. These are the stories that you need at a glance as parents growing. And even for the kids, it's important for them. It builds self-esteem.
Well,
and security.
The thing is, every single family has a story.
Yes.
And the thing about it, you want that story of the good times. You want it captured in a portrait. And the thing about it, a wall portrait, it's money, you're spending money, but it's an investment. It's something that's going to be displayed on your wall the rest of your life. Whereas a trip to the beach for a week
is a moment.
That trip's gone.
Yeah.
It's the money spent and everything's gone, and you don't really have anything to show for it. Whereas a wall portrait, and I'm not saying wall portraits replace vacations, I'm not saying that at all, but a wall portrait of your family is important to be a part of your family vision.
Absolutely. And I mean, you're speaking my love language. Travel is my love language, so I make it a priority to invest in those moments, but I know that they're gone in an instant. You build, like we're right now going to Yellowstone this year. It's taken me a year to plan this kind of stuff, you know, plan what we're doing, where we're going, things like that. But I know, 10 days goes by fast. Whereas you plan for a portrait, you've got that portrait hanging on your wall for the rest of your life. So that's the difference between a moment that's valuable, which is important, and a moment captured on your wall as an art piece forever.
Well, okay, let's end it with this. Yes, we're going on vacation. We're going out to Yellowstone and the surrounding areas. Well, our son he's turning 16. And we told our kids, look, you can go anywhere within reason for your 16th birthday. And he chose Yellowstone.
He wants to be a cowboy.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to do his 16-year-old there in that area.
Yeah.
We're going to take the time to do a portrait because that's important to us. That's a part of him. That's a part of now. That's part of who he is. And so we're going to capture that. And
we're going to display it. And what's cool about that is when we display it, we're going to look at it and all those memories are flood back into our brains and into our memories, and it's just going to be one of those moments that's just captured forever.